Hey, this is Jason with RPC Electronics. In this video, I am pleased to announce that we are finally going to have our redesign of the Kato Turnout controller that we've been selling now for about 12, 13 years now. We now have a redesign that we are happy with, and boards are on the way. They should be here any day now. And I'll be able to start producing those immediately and shipping within probably about a week. But for those that are familiar with this board, then you'll pretty much know that there's nothing special here other than the fact that we reduced one of the channels. It's now a 4-channel board instead of 5. For those who aren't familiar with this, I'll just quickly give you a quick little overview. So what this is a controller. It's a simple, it actually uses AC, as you'll find on many DC throttles, for example. The accessories port is actually AC, and that's actually why we designed this way. This is a 4-channel controller that can control up to 4 turnouts. You can try ganging 2 to a port. That I'm not going to say that it supports that, because sometimes that doesn't work as well as when you have them on an individual channel. Just to demonstrate here, I'm gonna switch a turnout here. You can see, and of course channel 2 is on this turnout. And let's see here. Oh, I'm on the wrong one. There we go. There's 3, and there's 4. And I was going to point out that these 2 here are brand new. These 2 back here are at least 10 years, if not 12 years old. And the reason I wanted to point out is some of these older ones are a little finicky sometimes. As they get older, they don't want to switch as easily. Well, our controller has no problem with them. Also, it has to do with track maintenance too, keeping these clean, keeping these lubricated at the point, at the actuating point right here. But anyways, that's a different video in itself. This controller will easily control all 4 of these without a problem. We do actually include on the board are these little points here, these little solder points, and what those can have is those can have little jumpers installed that allow you to tie the channels together. So for example, I can tie channels 1 and 2 together so that actuating either channel will actually actuate both channels at one time, and that would allow you to use this such as like a crossover, for example, in this configuration. So I'm just gonna manually do it by hitting 2 at once. But you can see that the turnouts are switching together, and by jumpering that, you could make that happen automatically. And you could either operate this channel or this channel, and it's going to automatically operate the other channel as well. And you can we call this slaving. So you can slave these 2 together, you can slave these 2 together, these 2, or you could slave all these together. You could slave these 3 together if you jumped, these 3 together, or these 3. So the combinations are really whatever you want to make it. Again, I do want to point out that the voltage required is AC. We have a power adapter that we're testing right now. In fact, that's the one's connected right now that we are going to make available. And so you could buy that power adapter when you buy the controller from us, and knowing that you've got a properly rated power supply that will power this board without any problem. But it is AC. For the DC guys, again, if you're running, for example, like a rail power DC throttle, the accessory port on that is actually AC voltage. I have one here I've been testing with. I think on average it averages about 16 volts AC coming out of there. It's works just fine. Works just fine with this. Another feature that we included on this one, as we did on our old one, is we have what we call the jump port. So you've got technically you can feed voltage in on either one of these. You can feed it here, or you can feed it down here as well. The point is that if you want more of these controllers, you can gang these together by going voltage into one side, and then the other side you jump to the next one, and so on. And you could do that from either end of the board. And I know several customers in the past who've bought 2, 3, 4, 5 plus of these boards from me, and they do just that. They jump them all together so they can use the one power supply to power all the boards together. Also, in this configuration, I've got the terminals soldered to the bottom side, so this makes it very, very easy to panel mount. You can see from the side the switches protruding. You can very easily panel mount this. You would just have to have a couple little standoffs between your panel and the board, just to make up for the thickness of the actual switch itself. We can also build this with the terminal block on the top side. I have an example of that here. Here's one with the terminal block on the top side for those who want to flush mount this. Say they want to mount it flat to a panel or something like this, and they're not worried about having it behind the panel. You can mount this like that as well. But of course, having the terminal blocks on the back side makes it much easier to wire if you have this mounted in a panel where the board is behind the panel and the buttons are just protruding through. So anyways, that's about it. We will have an announcement probably later this week, if not early next week, of when these will be available for ordering. Haven't quite figured out the price yet, but it's going to be real close to the original, maybe a little bit cheaper. We were able to reduce the cost a little bit, and we always try to make the pricing competitive, since we know that these are somewhat niche products, and we definitely want people to feel like it's an affordable product that that they would want to use with their layout. So again, thanks for watching, and look for the next video.